Even further on this story by examining what our government seems to cherish and protect more than just about anything else, the U.S. dollar and its exclusive relationship with oil and how it's traded. You see, back in 1970, the term petrodollar was actually invented, essentially branding and solidifying that henceforth every drop of oil recovered anywhere on Earth would always be measured and traded in U.S. dollars, no other currency, only the dollar. And no country was more important to that deal, still is, by the way, than Saudi Arabia. But what if that deal went away? What would be the impact? And joining us now is Christy I, who is really the perfect expert to talk about this with. I mean, we like to not throw out that word expert too much, but in this case, it really applies. I mean, not only are you the host of Boom Bust, the best business show on television, but you also have experience dealing not only on the trading floor, but specifically on the trading floor as it relates to oil. So this is the most important, this petrodollar question. And again, the question is, if Iran was making overtures toward Saudi Arabia or vice versa, and they came together, experts are saying one things that could suffer in that deal is the petrodollar deal. Why is that so important? Make us understand that.
It was because the entire petrodollar-dollar link, all the oil that's traded globally is currently pegged to the U.S. dollar. It's denominated in the U.S. dollar. And this was, as you said, done in the 1970s. So because of that, the entire commodities market, as well as all imports, exports, they are all currently denominated in U.S. dollar. One reason is because the U.S. dollar is currently the world's currency reserve.
Right.
And how did it get there? Well, one could argue which came first, the chicken or egg. Did it become the currency reserve first, or is it because of their monopoly on the commodities market that gave them the power to become the currency reserve of the world? We don't know, but oil accounts for up 2 to 4% of GDP in worldwide trade. And that is something substantial. So if you control the oil market, the commodities energy flow, that's something that every single country needs as an import, then that is going to be huge. And that makes every single country dependent on the US dollar.
I would imagine if I was an American neocon, an American banker, business person, I would be so concerned about this because let us suppose that the Saudis decide to get back together with Iran. And somewhere in the process, they start seeing themselves not as a vassal of the United States, but really part of a bigger world sort of thing. And they say, you know what, we're going to pull out of that petrodollar deal. That lets the genie out of the bottle because suddenly China may have the same idea and say, we don't want to use the dollar either. Russia could step in and say, we don't want to use the dollar either. Certainly Venezuela.
Actually, they've already done so.
Really?
They've already done so. In the past year, China, Russia, as well as India, they have been lowering their U.S. dollar reserve because they no longer want to deal with the U.S. dollar hegemony, their monopoly on trade, essentially, that all trade must be denominated in dollar. So because of that, China and Russia have already started trading commodities and as well as other exports in their own currencies, the ruble and the RMB. And it makes perfect sense for countries to use their own currencies. So Russia also traded with India, and they successfully completed their trades in 2019. Venezuela and Iran. Venezuela wants to move to their own petro coin, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency denominated in oil that they're currently using to get around the U.S. dollar as well. So these individual countries, they all want to use their own currency. They no longer think it's fair or it's needed to use the U.S. dollar.
And of course, the Saudis are the Mac Daddies in all of this because they have the biggest oil reserves.
Exactly. So Russia, President Putin, he's actually been calling for all the countries to drop the U.S. dollar simply because the U.S. has been accumulating too much power. He's actually been calling for this for over 5 years, but none of the countries really listened to them until in 2019 when the U.S. started to unilaterally issue sanctions that weren't really justified. So now all the countries are starting to pay attention, and because of that, China follows suit, India follows suit, and also Europe. Most of the trading there is all done in euros now instead of the U.S. dollar.
That's fascinating. And to think that the United States, it would not be beyond them to then use military force or military might to make sure the status quo remains the status quo.
Exactly.
Because changing that would be a real big economic hit.
It would be a huge economic hit, and Saudi Arabia is basically the linchpin of it all because Saudi Arabia alone, outside of OPEC, controls 1/10 of the entire world's oil supply, which is equivalent to that of Russia and the U.S.
Nobody smarter. Christy I, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Bashem, Rakah, Kadash, double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone, rule well, and peace and salutations to the house of David, the elect man, pushing his truth and faith and sincerity. This is the brother Mutazakah coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Bashem, Rakah, Kadash. All right, I pray that this lesson is edifying. All right. And I just played this video for you brothers, to let you know that America is on a to show you brothers, America is on a decline, man, in every type of fashion, man. All right, especially with this dollar, man. All right, because a lot of these countries are backing out of the petrodollar, which they told you in this video, it was that term petrodollar was created in the 1970s, all right, by America to pretty much monopolize and they used the petrodollar to pretty much monopolize and corner the market of oil, and that's why America has such prizes their allegiance and their alliance with the Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia holds 1/10 of the oil reserve. Okay, but the petrodollar causes majority of these countries to have to be dependent on the U.S. dollars to be able to make trade in oil export and imports. So with a lot of these countries backing out of the petrodollar, a lot of these countries get abandoning the U.S. dollar for trade in oil aspects. That's gonna be a huge hit on the American economy, because that's how America makes a lot of its revenue for the economy is through oil, and the petrodollar, because it keeps their currency flowing. Petrodollar is the U.S. dollar, and that's what countries use to trade for oil. But a lot of these countries are backing out of the petrodollar and developing their a new system on trade in oil. So that's gonna pretty much be a huge hit on America's economy, man. And this is prophecy, man, because a lot of these countries are who once had lead with America's way of doing things. They're not at league with that anymore. They're starting these nations that were okay with the petrodollar. They're not okay with it anymore. So let's go here. This Obadiah. Slakia. This Obadiah. Bear with me. Pull this up. Obadiah. Salakia. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Here we go. This Obadiah chapter 1, which is only one chapter verse. Let's start at 6. This Obadiah verse 6. It says, "How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?" Like it's a known fact that that America created the petrodollar term in the system of the U.S. dollars to be able to monopolize and corner the market of oil, so they can be able to pretty much, because they said that control the oil is 2 to 4% of the world GDP trade, so if you control the oil trade, which America does right now, you pretty much can control the whole world. You can have world dominance, because oil is a like they say in the video, oil is a resource that every country must have, So if you have your hands in all of that, you pretty much have your hands in everything, and you pretty much run shit, and that's where America is at right now with this petrodollar. But a lot of these countries are starting to back out of the petrodollar and refusing to use it. A lot of countries are refusing to use the American dollar, period. Like they were saying in the video, a lot of these countries are starting to use their own currency, for trading, and You know, this is these countries not being down with the way of Esau no more, man. You know, and it said so it says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How is his hitting things sought up? Right, because uh like the lady was saying, she was saying that Putin been calling for countries to get rid of the American dollar for about 5 years and stop trading with the American dollar for about 5 years. Then you got Saudi Arabia, who's in heavy league with America. They're even considering, who holds majority of the world's oil reserves. They're considering joining league with Iran. You know, and that's going to be a huge hit on America, man, because America depends on this alliance with Saudi Arabia to be able to control and corner the market, man. But Saudi Arabia is considering abandoning the petrodollar along with a lot of these other countries, man. All right, why? Because that's the hidden things of Esau being sought out. These countries are starting to realize what Esau is doing, man. He's monopolizing, and he's exerting his dominance through his wicked fiat paper money, you know, and these countries are realizing that, and they're trying to step away from American hegemony. You know, it says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Because Yahweh Shemel Shai is mingling that spirit out here, man. All right, what? The spirit of prophecy. You know, through his men first, we speak about the prophecies that are coming to pass, and then eventually, piece by piece, Yahweh Shemel Shai brings this place down, you know, by prophecies being fulfilled, like this right here, you know. In the economic collapse, is a huge uh prophecy. You know, that's how Esau is going to be brought down. You know, that's a key point in how Esau is going to be brought down. It says, verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, like Saudi Arabia. You know, Saudi Arabia is bringing America to the border, you know, and putting the spotlight even more on them. You know, like, hold on, if Saudi Arabia stopped dealing with America, then like they were saying, a lot of these other nations gonna follow suit, because uh Saudi Arabia is dealing with America, and they hold the most of the world's oil reserve. So these other countries gonna be like, well, look, if they linking up with Iran, we're finna cut ties with them and their dollar and follow suit. So, you know what I'm saying, we can stay, so we can be a league with them, you know, and develop a relationship with them, you know. So they're being brought to the border, you know, by Saudi Arabia, who's uh not per se the best of friends with America, but they have a understanding, you know. They have an understanding. The Saudis have an understanding with America, so you can say that they are a nation of confederacy unto America, which is bringing them to the border, you know. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, right? Because the leaders of Saudi Arabia, a lot of those men are cool with the leaders of America, like the Bush family. They cool with one of those top Saudi families. You know, they were seen taking pictures together and, you know, chilling together. You know, so, you know, that's the men that were at peace with thee. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. Yeah, how have they eaten thy bread? You know, they're petrodollar by accepting that deal of trading with the American dollar, you know, but not knowing that they've laid a wound under you, because uh they're from the they're slowly pulling away from trading with your currency, which is gonna cause your economy to take a big hit, and cause you to have to have price hikes on all oil based products, you know, which is gonna send a high level of inflation in your company. I mean, in your country, which your country is already faltering because they're not producing much is being dished out, and there's no way they can pay off their debt, you know. So they're laying a wound under you, because this is gonna cause your economy to take a big hit. You know, it says there is none understanding in him. Yeah, because Esau, he doesn't he doesn't understand why these things are happening unto him. You know, but scriptures speak about, you know, he who casts a stone on high shall fall upon his own head. You know, so Esau tried to monopolize, you know, well, has monopolized and, you know, pretty much colonized the whole world, you know, through, you know, his wicked witchcraft, you know, and now it's starting to come back on him because these nations are tired of it, you know, and they're like, we're not dealing with you no more. Then you're imposing sanctions by no means on these countries, and these countries are sick of the bullshit, man. All right, they just like, well, we're gonna do away with your whole currency. How about that? We're just gonna stop dealing with your whole trade and money system. Period. How about that? You know, and Esau, he don't understand it. You know, he just continues to uh he continues to um put strains on his relationships with these different countries, you know, because there's no understanding him, notwithstanding that all these countries, even the countries that are elite with you, are finna turn on your ass. You know, it says, shall I not in that day, said the Lord Yahweh Shai, even destroy the wise men of Edom out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? You know, and that's what's happening right now. Understanding is out of the mount of Esau, man. He's finished, man. All right. He doesn't understand that there's no hope for him. Okay. The American dollar is through, and America is through. Are your countries on the way out of here, and your way of doing things and how you said was ruling this world and wickedness and witchcraft and sorcery is not going to work no more. You know, because Yahweh Shai, Shai, it has a counsel and purpose against you. You know, and that's what Esau doesn't understand. These things are happening because Yahweh Shai, Shai, it has it out for you. You know, this is Job chapter 20 verse 15. It says, he hath swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh Shai shall cast them out of his belly. Yeah, because Esau is made trillions and trillions, you know, probably gazillions, man, off of oil, man. All right, and you know, getting countries to fall in debt to his Federal Reserve System, to his petrodollar, all right, to his whole he's made so much money off oil, man. You know, in the petrodollar. You heard him in the video. They said that Esau will be willing to go to the point to cause to use military force to keep these companies these countries at bay with the petrodollar, man, because that's Esau's lifeline, man. All right, and he's that's how he make money off that. That's what he make the most money off of, man. That's why he going to all these countries. That's why he in Venezuela right now, trying to cause a coup, you know, with a coup, you know, so he could, you know, control their oil resource, because Venezuela has one of the world's biggest oil reserves as well, you know. And why you think he's in Syria, you know, trying to control that oil pipeline out there, man? All right, that's what so he continued to corner that market, you know, and get rich off of that. But it says, he have swallowed, Job 20:15, he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. Yahweh Shai shall cast them out of his belly. And that's what Yahweh Shai is doing. He's casting these riches that the so-called white man has swallowed down and wickedness right up, man. All right. Yeah, because, you know, they said the petrodollar was created in the 1970s. So you got about a 30, 40-year span that, which is really a short time, that Esau been eating off this. But Yahweh Shai is casting that right up out his belly. It says, he shall suck the poison of asp, the viper's tongue shall slay him. He shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter. And that's really pretty much representing prosperity, man. Or the prosperity, you're not going to see prosperity. All right. This is the beginning of the end of Esau, you know. This is the beginning of your end right now, you know, with these countries separating from American hegemony, separating from the petrodollar. All right, your economy and collapsing, you know, hyperinflation. Okay, countries wanting to switch to the gold standard. All these different things is you losing your power that you rule through your money, you know, because even I think one of the Rothschilds said it, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was one of the Rothschilds said it, like probably in like the year 1100 or 1000. They said that, you know, they don't care about who runs the world. They just care about who runs the money in the world, and that's what Esau does. He owns the Federal Reserve, you know. So he owns pretty. He prints money. All right, he dishes it out, you know. So he pretty much can control these countries through his power, through his petrodollar, you know. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore. Yeah, that which he labored for he shall restore. And he labored for it in wickedness. You know, he labored for everything that he has in wickedness, and he's gonna have to restore that, you know. It says, and shall not swallow it down according to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Right, according to his substance shall his restitution be. All right, like I was saying, Esau done made hundreds of trillions, gazillions of dollars, man, off of oil, man. All right, through his fiat paper system, you know, through his petrodollar. All right, so he's not gonna be able to rejoice in all those riches that he's accumulated from that, you know, because all that's finna falter, you know, and he's not gonna be able to continue on in his system of wickedness. All right. It says, Salakia, it says, because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away a house which he buildeth not. And that's why, you know, because he unjustly takes away from people's economy, all right, which he didn't build. You know, he unjustly takes people resources, you know, through wickedness, you know. So he's gonna Yahweh Shema Shai, that's against the laws of Yahweh Shema Shai. You can't take away from the poor and just to build yourself up, especially you already got substance. You know, that's wicked as hell, you know. It says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desires. And what does he desire? The so-called white man desires to, you know, continue to exert his dominance throughout the world, man. You know, he wants to control everything, man. All right. But you're not going to get your desire. You know, it says, there shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. Right. And that's what time we in right now. No man is one to deal with the American dollar, man. Nobody don't care about this shit no more. Well, in Turkey, one of ally of America, by the way, a part of NATO, all right, that beast system, okay, they were burning the American dollar earlier last year, okay? So that's letting you know that, you know, nobody's looking for your goods, you know. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? Because Esau has Esau's in damn near every country throughout the world. Anywhere with some oil at, Esau over there, man. All right, and Esau got his hands in that shit, so he feels like he's finna, you know, in Syria, if he could, you know, take over that province in Syria, you know, which he wants to do, he could pretty much damn near have the whole world in his hands, type shit, you know. So he's damn near in the fullness of his sufficiency, you know. But he's in straits now because now all these countries are starting to come up against him and turn on him, you know. It says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Yeah, and all the hands of the wicked are coming upon him. You know, all these heathen nations are now coming up against America now. It says, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Yep, and that's what's happening right now. All right, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is raining, raining his fury upon you, man. All right, and it's stern with these nations turning against you. All right, let's go here to Psalms 49. This Psalms chapter 49, verse 6. It says, they that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude. Or let me start up a little bit. Let's just start from the top. This Psalm chapter 49, verse 1. Hear this, all ye people, give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world. All right, so this speaking to everyone, both low and high, rich and poor together. Right, because it tell you in Proverbs the 22nd chapter that the rich and poor meet together. So Yahweh Shema Shai, they don't give a damn what you got and what kind of substance you got. All right, he looks at all creatures as pretty much nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing but ants. Even his inheritance, which is Jacob, the nation of Israel, he calls them thy worm Jacob. You know, it says, my mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ear to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, and that's Esau. None of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua a ransom for him, right? Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, he damn sure not dealing with the petrodollar, man. He's not dealing with your American paper money, man. All right, and you're not gonna pay him a ransom to it's nothing you can do to get Yahweh Shema Shai to get back on your side. Yahweh Shema Shai is not with America. He's not with the American dollar. He's not with the American way. It says, for the redemption of their soul is precious, and it ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise man die, likewise the fool, and the brutish person perish and leave their wealth to others. Right, because it speak about that in I think it's Isaiah the 60th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I know it's in the book. I believe it's in the book of Isaiah, though, when it speak about how, you know, you're gonna be tributary to the nation of Israel. You know, I know in Isaiah the 60th chapter speak about bringing the glory of the Gentiles, all right, to the nation of Israel. So, you know, all the wealth that you have accumulated, you know, none of these other heathens, they not gonna get it either. Them other heathens, they gonna cast up with a little bit they made dealing with your ass through the abundance of your delicacies, you know, and you as well, you know, you're gonna give up everything you got to the nation of Israel. You know, it says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Yeah, like America. You know, well, the dollar, you know, the petro dollar, you made that shit up in 1970s. You know, all these Africa, you know, named after named after your people, man. You know, uh, you call yourself a European. You know, you South America. You know, all these different lands. You know, you named them after your name. You know, and you think these countries gonna continue to thrive forever. Nevertheless, man being in honor about if not, he is like the beast that perish, and that's what you are, Esau. You're a beast, and you're gonna perish. It says their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their sayings. Salah, like sheep that are laid in the grave, death shall feed on him, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. And that's what's finna happen to Esau Edom, man. Our Esau Edom is finna have the grave feed on him, and death feed on them. Okay, and the upright, which is the nation of Israel, all right, they're gonna have dominion over you, Esau. You know, and everything that you've accumulated through wickedness, like I said in Job, the 20th chapter, as according to your substance, so shall your restitution be. So you're gonna have to a lot of paying back. You're gonna have to do unto the nation of Israel. You know. It says, but Yahweh will redeem his soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. It says, be not thou afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. Right. So what it say? For when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away. His glory shall not descend after him. Right. You know, because you're through. In the world to come, which is Jacob's world, the beginning of Esau is the end of the world, which we're at the end of Esau right now. That's why all these countries are turning against you. You know, Jacob's world is gonna follow. Okay, and you're not gonna have no glory in Jacob's world. You're gonna be a perpetual servant, a perpetual slave for 1,000 years until you completely exterminate it. And everything that you have, you're going to give it to the nation of Israel. You know, it says, though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and man will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. He shall go to the generation of his fathers, they shall never see light. Man that is in honor and understanding not is like the beast that perish, and that's you, Esau. Okay, you don't have no understanding in you, like it said in Obadiah, you know, because Yahweh Shema has destroyed the understanding in you. You're nothing but a beast, you know. This James chapter 5 verse 1 says, go to now, ye rich man, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. But guess what? Your gold and your silver is cankered, man. Nobody don't give a damn about your dollar no more. That shit ain't nothing. It don't even hold no value, man. It don't hold no value, you know. You can't throw that dollar around like you once did in 1970s, man, in 1980s, man. You know, even during the time of the 1990s, during the dot-com bubble, you know, that shit don't hold as much value as it once did, man. You know, so you done heaped up all this treasure. You know, you done thought you was gonna be able to escape judgment if you could be able to control everything in the world. In the last days, you thought, you know, you done ran up all your materials and built up your army, you know, through your petrodollar, but none of that matters, man. None of that matters. All right. It says, behold, the hire of laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And that's the example of some of those are those heathens that you oppress through your petrodollar, you know. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Right. And so you've been wanton. You lived in pleasure, man. All right. But prosperity and adversity coming from the Lord. You don't forgot that Yahweh Shema Shah put you in this position. And he's going to take your ass up out of it, just like he did Nebuchadnezzar. All right. And it had him eating grass in the field. That's why I said in Psalms the 49th chapter, you like the beast that perish, because that's what you're going to be doing. All right. You're going to be brought low like this. Well, you being brought low right now, you know. This Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, the petrodollar, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. That's why he in all these other countries, you know, got his hands in everybody's shit, you know. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell, who wants more. He is enlarges his desire as hell. You heard him in the video say he's willing to use military force if he has to be able to keep this petrodollar standard. You know, petrodollar standard. It says, and is as deaf and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb? And that's what's going on right now. You know, these nations are starting to take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that thick clay goes into the word debt, which that's all the American dollar is. The petrodollar is nothing but debt, man. All right. Tell you on the dollar that this note is legal tender. You know, it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Yeah, so you've becoming spoiled to these nations, same way you spoiled these nations through your sorcery. All right, now they finna spoil your ass. All right, why? Because they finna do away with the American dollar, and then what's gonna happen? Your economy is gonna take a collapse, and then these other countries, their economy is gonna expand over yours. Then you're gonna lose power. You know, then these nations gonna all move on your ass while you weak. You know, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all of the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of man's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covenant to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. And that's why Esau has heaped up treasures for the last days, so he could try to be able to deliver himself from evil. But that's not happening, man. All right, he coveteth after what others has, their oil, you know. It says, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people and hast sinned against thy soul. And that's what you've done, man. You sinned against your own soul, Tell you that in Proverbs the 8th chapter, he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. Which Esau, that's all you do is sin against Yahweh Shema Shah, man. All right. You can't you don't supposed to be in other people's lands, man. All right. Just taking their shit, man. All right. Unjustly through violence. This Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? And that's what these nations are starting to say. This nigga right here, through his little paper money, got everybody so shook up, man. Man, how about we just destroy this nigga, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out of the grave like an abominable branch, and has the raiment of those that are slain thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. And that's Esau. That's what you had. You did not. A prime example of that. You killed how many thousands of people in the Middle East, man? All right, for what? For oil, man. All right, for oil. It says, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Right. So you can never repay what you've done, man. These nations, they gonna come against you, okay, destroy you like you destroyed them, okay, and you're through. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shai, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and the son and the nephew, said the Lord Yahweh Shai. So Yahweh Shai is finna do you just like you done these other nations, man. Okay? And he's gonna use these other nations to do you like that, Now this the last one, This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord Yahweh Shai's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, so that's why these nations are pissed off, because they drunk of that wine, the petrodollar. That was sorcery, and that was sorcery and witchcraft used by Esau to manipulate and monopolize the oil market throughout the world, and be able to have their hands in everybody's shit, have everybody owing them something, because like I was saying, the American dollar ain't nothing but debt. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take bond for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us everyone go into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai have brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai our power. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shai have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, the Russians, who they were speaking about in this video too, who were they've been advocating getting rid of the petrodollar, and eventually they're gonna be the number one advocate in the destruction of America. It says, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, the vengeance of his temple. Yeah, and that's Russia. Ultimately is gonna be the number one advocate, like I said, in the destruction of America. Just like all these other heathen nations are with the destruction of America, and slowly but surely coming up against America. Why? Because it's the vengeance of Yahweh Shema Shai, and he's going to destroy this place. Okay. So I pray through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah. This was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakal, Kadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Rule well. And peace and salutations to the house of David. Shalom to the elect.